All right, so we're gonna starting to record, and again, the yeah, it's a lower div stats 21 course with a focus on Python, but this week we're looking at Git and GitHub. Just curious, give me a green check mark if you've used Git or GitHub before. I'm just curious what kind of who has used Git or GitHub before. So hey, I guess answer yes or no. Have you used Git or GitHub before prior to this class? Give me either a green or for yes or a red for no. Okay, so just trying to get a pulse here on the course. Okay, all right. Well, thank you for those of you who've responded. Looks like most of you have not used Git or GitHub, and a handful of you have. Okay, that's good. I'm going to go ahead and clear out everyone's status here again. And then Python. Have you coded with Python before? Give me a green or a red for yes or no. Have you coded with Python before? Okay, all right. So we have a few more people saying yes. Still, majority is no, but a few people saying yes. Okay, all right. Well, great. Okay, that just gives me a good picture of kind of you know, where we are as a class. And with that, I will go ahead and start today's lecture. Okay. So I'm going to share my screen, and today the focus is going to be on Git. Okay, and we're going to cover some basic commands here. Before I get into that, some good news. That my application for DataCamp for the classroom was approved, and so I will be sending out invitations to DataCamp for you guys. And when you get that invitation, here, let me stop my share. When you get that invitation, make sure you sign up for an account with the email that that I send the invitation to. Okay, so I'm using the roster, the UCLA email. You know, everybody has an email address on file with UCLA, and I'm using that list to send out invitations. And so, so it's important that you use that email account to sign up for your DataCamp account. Now, you might have already signed up for DataCamp on your own. Okay. Just curious, have you signed up for DataCamp? And again, click yes or no if you have. If you have already signed up for DataCamp, it should be fine. If the account that you've used to sign up is the same, it should just upgrade you to the premium version. And but if you've already signed up for GitHub and it's a different email address, then you have to create another account using the email address that I've invited. Okay, you have to use that one. And even if it's like, you know, Joe Bruin at g.ucla versus Joe Bruin at ucla.edu, you've got to use the one I've invited. Okay, because DataCamp sees those as different. So use the email that I've invited, and that will enroll you into the classroom where you can do the homework exercises, and we'll also give you kind of the premium access. So so expect to see an invitation for that today. Oh, and before I forget, let me give you the answer to the first attendance quiz. Okay, so for today's lecture viewing quiz, the first answer is E as in elephant. E as in elephant. So that's question 1. The answer is going to be E as an elephant, and I'll give the answer to question 2 later on. And Okay, so there's a question. Can DataCamp have a different email with GitHub? Yeah, that's fine. DataCamp and GitHub are different companies, so that doesn't matter, okay? Yeah, okay. When you do set up a GitHub, there's a bunch of, so pretty much if you apply for a job that involves coding, okay, they're going to search GitHub for your repositories, okay? They're gonna search GitHub to see if you are present on GitHub. They're also gonna search if, you know, for your Twitter and Facebook and stuff and your social media. They just kind of want to make sure you're not saying anything that will be a liability to the company, okay? So if you're promoting, you know, some, you know, clean up your social media before you apply for a job is basically what I'm saying, right? I mean, sure, you can have jokes and things like that, but they also just want to make sure you're not going to be a liability to the company. So that's just something to be aware of. Most companies, I mean, some companies don't care, but a lot of companies do check your social media, or at least set your settings to be private if you're going to be sharing inappropriate things or edgy things. But one thing they're going to do is they're going to check to see if you have a GitHub, okay? And they will encourage, and I encourage you to put some kind of picture, a profile picture. If you're not comfortable putting your actual face on there, at least some kind of icon or something to show that you have customized rather than using the default picture that they give you. And then if you create more than one repository, you want to star the repository or repositories that you are most proud of, the work that you're doing. Make sure each page in your repository, each repository has a well-documented markdown page, okay? And anyway, we'll get into all of this stuff here, but these are just some tips that I've got. Okay, let's just talk about some Git basics. All right, so let me share this here. Okay, so I am going to create a new folder on my computer. All right, so right here I'm in my folder OneDrive Teaching Stats 21. I've already installed Git on my computer. Okay, I've already installed Git on my computer, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new folder. Okay, and I'm going to call this I don't know, in-class repo, for an in-class repository. All right, so are you guys able to see this? I've got my in-class repository, and I'm going to go into it. So right now, here's an empty folder, and I'm going to make a GitHub repository out of this. Okay, so on my Windows computer, because I have Git already installed, I can just right-click and choose to do Git bash here, okay? And when I do that, it opens this thing. Let me see if I can make this text a little bit bigger for you guys. I do this text. Okay, so instead of 9, let's do let's do monstrously big 14-point text. Okay, all right. And so again, this is because I have I'm on a Windows machine. Inside the folder, I can just do right-click and choose Git bash right here, and this this starts it up. Okay, again, I guess it resets all of my options. Okay. If you don't have a Windows machine, if you don't have this kind of thing, you might have to open up your terminal in Mac, okay? And so on mine, I would open up like kind of some kind of command line prompt here, and I would have to navigate to my folder here, okay? And here I want to go into the in-class repository, okay? And here I might be able to type in commands here, okay? So right now I typed in Git Status. I'm going to use Git Bash because it highlights the things. But if you are on a Mac thing and you don't have the option to just right click and start Git Bash, you'll have to open up a terminal window, okay? Wait, let me open up my chat. And again, if anything I'm saying doesn't make sense, or if you're just like, wait, how do you do this? Just give me say something in the chat, or indicate using some kind of icon. Give me a no thing or something. Okay. So you'll have to open up a terminal window. I think you guys know how to do that, right? So one thing you can do is on Mac, you can hit Command space and just type in terminal, type in TERM, and that should bring up the option to go to a terminal. You'll have to navigate to the folder that you have done, okay? So right now, this is just an ordinary folder. And what we want to do is we want to turn it into a Git repository, okay? And so there's a few commands. One that you're going to be constantly using is Git Status, okay? And Git Status only works if it's a repository. So if I type Git Status now, it's going to give me an error, fatal, not a Git repository, right? So what I want to do is I want to say, okay, we're going to make this folder, which is currently empty. I just called it in-class repo. We're going to make it a Git repository, and that is simple. You just type git init, okay? Git initialize, all right? You enter, and now this is a Git repository. And here it says master. This tells me that we are on the master branch. If you look in the folder, it has created this folder .git, okay? You only need to type in git init only once, only to initialize and tell something that this is a Git repository. Once it's a repository, you never have to type in git init again, okay? But anytime you create a new folder and you want to say, hey, this is going to be its own repository, you're going to type in git init, all right? And now I can type in git status, and I won't get an error. And it says, you're on branch master. There are no commits yet, okay? And so the way this works is inside here, you can create files and stuff, right? So, so maybe, okay. So here I have I opened up Notepad, and I'm going to create a new document, right? So this is going to just be kind of my new document. Here, let me see if I can make my text bigger for you guys. Or I don't know, maybe, is this text big enough? Let's see, settings, preferences. All right, well, I don't know how to change my text size on this. Okay. All right, whatever, okay. Okay, so here, this is new document. I'm gonna just write the first thing I wanna say. All right, well here, we'll make this right. Okay, so to initialize a folder to be a Git repository, type git init. Okay, so that's gonna be what we're gonna do. So we're gonna, I'm going to save this. I'm gonna hit save. I go to my teaching folder. I go to stats21, my in-class repo, and we're gonna just call this git underscore commands, okay, .txt. All right, so I have saved this, right? And here it is, okay? Git commands are right here. And I can edit this with Notepad, and it opens up right here, okay? Now, what I can do over here, okay, so this is my working directory. This exists on my hard drive, but this file has not been committed to the repository, okay? And so to bring it to the repository, remember, this is the, are you guys still there? Did something happen? Am I still in the meeting? Can you guys still hear me?
Yeah, we're still here.
Okay, okay. Something happened on my screen. It said I got signed out, and I don't know. I got worried. So technical issues, right? Okay. So remember, the picture is that you are working in your working directory. This is where stuff has happened. Okay. And so this is the file. This is normally how you operate. You just save things, and as you work, you want to make changes, right? So here's the thing, Git Commands. I can open it, and maybe I want to add a line here, right? So what we're going to do next is we're going to stage changes, okay? To stage changes, you type in Git Add and the file name, okay? To stage all the changes in a folder or in a repository, you can just do Git Add dot. Git Add dot is going to stage all of the changes that have been made, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and hit save there, right? And so my working directory has been updated. Now, if I come back to my terminal and I type in Git Status, it is going to say, so far no commits, and we have an untracked file. Git commands.txt is an untracked file, and what we need to do is we need to add this. We need to stage this, okay? And so our picture is we're in our working directory. We're going to use Git Add, and this is going to bring it to our staging area, okay? So I'm going to type in Git Add, and the file that is going to be Git Commands, okay? A lot of times, once you start typing in the first couple letters of a file name, you can hit Tab, and it will complete the name of the file, okay? And so I have Git Add Git Commands, and I'm going to hit Enter, right? And now what I can do is I can hit Git Status, and it will now show that these are the changes that are ready to be committed, okay? So we can do, it says no commits yet, changes to be committed are this, okay? So this file, Git Commands, is now in my staging area, and I can now commit this to my local repository. Okay, so today we're just gonna work in the local repository. On Friday, we'll talk about the remote repository, but today we're just gonna work in the local repository, okay? So what I've done is I've added the changes, and now I'm ready to commit them. So to commit them, I'm gonna type in Git Commit. Now, when you type in Git Commit, every commit that you make, you need to include a message, okay? A message summarizing what change has been made, okay? And this is very important because what people will need to know is that as the files develop, they will need to know, okay, at this snapshot, so inside a repository, basically it's keeping little snapshots in time of what the repository looks like. And basically, somebody needs to be able to read the messages and say, okay, you started here, you added this, you changed this, you removed this, and every single message should indicate what has been doing, okay? You don't want to just say git commit made changes, okay? That's a useless message, okay? That's not helpful. You want to be able to read the thing and get an idea of what features have been added, what changes have been made. So every commit needs to have a message. And so you're going to type in git commit -m to say the message, and you put in quotes. And here we're going to say created file Git Commands. Okay, and it could be, you know, whatever you want it to say, but this is basically the summary of the change that I've made. Okay, so I'm going to type in git commit -m created file git commands.txt. All right. Okay, so somebody has asked, it says, I know it's hard for you to solve remotely, but I don't get a .git folder. However, I'm able to follow all of the other commands and don't get any errors. Everything matches except, okay, so probably what's going on is probably your computer is set up to hide hidden folders, okay? So if you're on a Windows machine, if you go over to View, you can check or uncheck the hidden items, and Windows's default settings is that anything that starts off with a dot is going to be hidden. Okay, so these are basically folders and stuff that that is supposed to be hidden from regular view. Okay, because the average user has no business messing around with what's inside the .git. Okay. All right. So okay. So back to here. So we have committed this. All right. And it says git commit created file. All right. And so what we can do now is we can check the status. Okay, we can type in git status, and it's going to say on branch master, nothing to commit, working on tree clean. All right, and what else you can do is you can type in git log. Okay, and git log will give you basically the history of our repository. Right now we only have one commit in our repository. So if I hit git log, it's going to show this. Okay, this is all it shows, and it just says here's the commit. Every commit is identified by what's known as a hash. Okay, every commit is identified by a hash, and it says created file git commands. Okay, so that's what it happens, and it says the person who did this was Miles Chen. That's me, and it happened on April 1st. Okay. All right, and so so what happens is you keep working in your directory, right? And so maybe I'm going to continue working on this Git Commands file, and so so there's a few things that we've done. I'm going to say to commit to the changes to the repository. We're going to type in git commit -m and message describing the changes. Okay, so that's what we will do. Oh, I guess an important thing back here was up here we're going to say to check the status of the repository. We type in git status. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and hit save there. And that's it. Okay. All right. So so now I have made changes. Okay. So earlier, remember, I had git status and it said on branch master nothing to commit. Now if I type git status, because my working directory has changed, it's going to say changes not staged per commit is that git commands.txt has been modified. Okay. Git commands.txt has been modified. All right. And so there's a few things like you can take a moment and you can just say, well, I wonder what has changed, right? So so another command you can use is git diff for difference, and you hit enter, and basically it says, all right, well, here is one of the files, git commands.txt, and let's look. Okay, this has the same remains unchanged. This was there before, but these three lines show up in green to indicate these are lines that we've added. Okay, and then and it says we've added these lines to commit the changes to the repository. It says we've deleted this line that says Git Add, and we've added a line Git Add. This is this didn't actually happen. What happened was at the last line of the file used to be Git Add, and I hit enter after that, and so Git views this as this line has changed. It used to be Git Add, and that was the end of the file, but now it's Git Add with a new line character. Okay, so it says so it thinks I deleted this line and I added a new line here. Okay, so that's all that's saying there. But basically it says, you know, you added these lines and you added these lines, and I go, oh, okay, that's that is something that has changed, right? Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add the changes here, right? So if I check Git status, it says, okay, Git commands has changed, so I'm going to type in Git add git commands.txt. And if I check git status, then it says these are ready to be committed. So I'm going to do git commit -m, and we're going to say added lines about, what did I say? Git commit. Okay, so that was something that we've done. Okay, and if I check the status now, everything, my working directory is up to date with the repository. The repository reflects exactly the status of the working directory. So we're in good shape, okay? And if I check the log, now we have 2 commits made, okay? First we have created file, and then we added lines about git commit, okay? One option, okay, so as we work, the git log will get bigger and bigger and bigger. So one thing you can do is git log --one line, okay? And this gives us a shortened version of this, okay? So basically it says, it takes the messages that you've run, created file git commands, and then added lines about git commit, and it only gives you the first few characters of the hash, but that's enough, okay? You don't actually have to write out the full length of the hash. It just gives you the first few characters of the hash, but that's enough to identify that thing. Okay, can you diff after adding? I think so. You're asking questions off the, I'm trying to think. I think git diff after adding will still be the same. I think what git diff, if you type in git diff without any other things, it's going to kind of show you the difference between your working directory and the most recent commit. And there's other options you can use for git diff. You can specify just one particular file. You can specify this current commit versus a different commit. There's all sorts of stuff for git diff. I'm just kind of showing you the basics. And then I'm going to assign homework in data camp covering Git and stuff like that. Okay, so I'm going to expose you to some stuff in this first lecture, and then you'll get exposed to some more in your homework. Okay. All right. Let me just keep making a few more changes here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new text document, and we'll call this document 2, or I don't know, we'll just call this lists, and I'm going to just call it over here. Let's edit this, and I'm going to just say here is a list of states. Okay, and we're going to say California and New York and Texas. Okay, so I know there's more states than that, but we'll go ahead and save that. And over here, I'm going to add a couple other things. What else did I talk about? Okay, see a log of changes. So that's going to be git log. See a abbreviated version of the log, and that's going to be Git Log One Line --one line. I don't know what else I need to say. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and save that. And so if I check here, Git Status, okay, it says, you know what, this has been modified, and look, there's a brand new file. Okay, now you can we can add all of these things. Okay, I can do Git Add dot. Okay, and that's going to add all of the changes. All right, and if I check Git Status, then it says both of these things are ready. Okay, now if you say, well, you know what, I want to separate these commits. I only want I want one commit for the commands and one commit for the lists. Okay, and people have different preferences on how exactly they should go about doing the commits. You can remove things from the staged area, right? So you can reset the staging area, right? So remember, we have our working directory. I used Git Add, and I added all of the changes to the staging area. But I can say, you know what, I'm not ready for that. Let me just reset my staging area. So I'm going to just type in Git Reset, okay? And basically, if I check Git Status, now we're back to where we were before, where nothing has changed. My working directory is still the same, but it says Git Commands has been modified, and the lists have changed here. Okay, let's explore what Git diff can do. Okay, so if I do Git diff, okay, so here this is what has happened with Git Commands. If I do Git diff, Git Commands, yeah, this shows all we've done is added a few lines. And Git diff, if I type in list.txt, there's nothing to do here because lists is an untracked file. This didn't used to exist before, so there's nothing to do there. Okay, so Jason had asked, can you do a Git diff after adding? So let's just try that out. Okay, so I'm going to do Git diff, Git Commands. Okay, and if I check Git Status, then the changes to Git Commands are ready to be committed. And let's go ahead and just check Git diff. Okay. Oh, okay. So actually, Git diff here is going to ask what's the difference between, I guess, the working directory and I guess the staging area. Okay. So I was wrong when I said earlier about working directory and the most recent commit. Okay. So right here, there's no difference between Git Commands, the working directory, and the staging area. Okay. And so let's go ahead and commit this, right? So Git Status, all we are doing is we are ready to commit the changes to Git Commands, but lists is still untracked. So I'm going to go ahead and commit this using git commit-m, and we're going to say, I forgot what I added. What did I add to Git Commands? Oh, Git Log. Okay, so added Git Log to Git Commands. Okay, and so we have that, and I can check Git Status. Whoops, spelled that wrong. Okay, and so now we have just one untracked file. I can check the Git Log, and the log is getting longer. And so let's go ahead and add lists there as well. Okay, so I'm going to add Git add lists, and we're going to commit that with the message created lists.txt. Okay, and so now if I check Git Status, everything is up to date. And if I check my Git log, okay, now we have a whole bunch of commits. Okay, sometimes your log gets really long, and you will get this colon operator here. Okay, and so there's a few ways to handle this. Let me just kind of simulate having a smaller window. If I type in Git log, one, you can hit down to kind of keep scrolling, but if you don't want to scroll through the whole log, one thing you can do is you can hit just Q to kind of quit out, okay? The letter Q to quit viewing the Git log, right? So that's an option. Okay, and again, for the abbreviated version, you can get Git log -- one line, and we can see, okay, we created Git Commands, we added lines about Git commit, added Git log to Git Commands, and then we created lists.txt. All right. Were there other things I talked about? Oh yes, I talked about we'll remove the files from the staging area, and that was Git Reset. Okay. All right. There's a few other things that you can do. Okay. So here, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm being a little crazy here. We're going to go ahead and add that change, and we're going to go ahead and commit that. And we're going to say added Git Reset. Okay, so if I check Git Status, everything is up to date. Okay, let's say I go to lists.txt, and let's say we decide to do make some crazy changes, okay? And this is stuff I'm just messing around with, okay? And then I hit save, right? I'm gonna hit save on my computer. Okay, and so when I open this up, these changes are there, okay? And maybe, and if I check Git status, it says, yep, indeed, you've modified lists.txt, okay? So maybe you say, well, you know what? I clicked save, but I'm not happy with this, right? You say, I clicked save, so list.txt, I've changed this, and I don't really like these changes, right? These are too crazy for me. Let's go back. I want to get rid of this, right? I want to get rid of this stuff, okay? Well, one thing you can do is you can do a hard reset, okay? You can do git reset -- hard, okay? Be careful with this. What this will do is it will undo any changes in your working directory. It's going to reset them back to the most recent commit, okay? So the most recent commit, right? So we can see how things are different, right? So we can do git diff, and we can see, oh, you know what? These are the things that I've added, okay? And we can go back to the most recent commit, okay? So if we check Git Log One Line, you know, the most recent commit was where I added Git Reset, okay? And one thing I can do, okay, because I'm not happy with all of this crazy stuff that I added to lists, okay? So what I can do is I can do a hard reset. I can do git reset -- hard, okay? All right, and so, so that resets to the most recent commit, okay? And so if I open up lists.txt, those changes are gone, okay? So even though I had saved them on my local computer, I didn't commit them to the repository, so I was able to do a hard reset, and that makes a change, okay? So here is, so what we can do is we can reset the working directory to the most recent commit, all right? And that's going to be git reset -- hard, okay? Whereas git reset normally just removes files from the staging area, or I should say removes changes from the staging area, okay? Git reset hard will reset the working directory to the most recent commit, okay? So use that command with caution, okay? Because if you saved something and you like it, but then you run git reset hard, all of those changes are gone, right? Git reset hard is only if you've saved changes and you want to undo that, okay? So, so I'll come back here. So if we check Git status, Git Commands has been updated because I added this line. And so we'll go ahead and add that. We'll commit that. And I'm going to say added Git reset hard to Git Commands. Okay. All right. So here's that. Okay. Let me just show you other stuff that you can do, right? Okay, so here's lists, and then, okay, we're gonna go ahead and do crazy changes, okay? Crazy changes, and let's commit them this time. Okay, wahoo. All right, so we've got this, all right? And I can do git status, and we can say, okay, lists has been modified, and let's say, we're going to add this, right? We add lists, and then we commit them this time, okay? Committing the crazy changes to lists.txt. Okay? All right. Uh-oh, now what do we do, right? And we say, oh, you know what? I want to undo these crazy changes, but I've committed them, okay? So we've got to, we have a couple options here, all right? And the one I would recommend is using a Git Revert, okay? So let me just show you the Git Log One Line, okay? So this is where we are, right? We created Git Commands, we added some lines to Git Commands, Git Commit, added Git Log, created lists, added Git Reset, added Git Reset Hard, and then we committed the crazy changes to lists.txt. And maybe we want to undo that. We want to go back. We want to go back to added Git Reset Hard. Okay, so we don't. So, oops. So So when we open this, we have the crazy changes. These have been committed, okay? And maybe we're not happy about that, okay? So, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna do a Git Revert, all right? Let me show you what, there's a picture that illustrates very well what Git Revert looks like, okay? And I've linked, I've linked this, okay? And so what a Git Revert does, okay, is this picture represents kind of the chain of commits, okay? So here we are, and this one right here represents kind of the crazy changes that we've made here, the crazy changes. What a Git Revert does is it takes the one before the crazy changes and it brings it forward. It's gonna bring it forward here. So technically, you could still go back in time, look at the crazy changes, and keep going back in time and stuff. But what this will do is it will take the previous commit and bring it back to kind of the front of the chain here, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and just do a Git Revert, and this will basically undo the most recent commit. It's not really an undo. What it's doing is it's gonna go back in the history and kind of use that as the starting point, okay? So it's like rewinding time a little bit. Okay, so I'm gonna hit Git Revert. What did it say? Oh, I'm sorry. What I have to do is I have to revert, I have to bring the, I have to type in the hash of the most recent commit, which in our case is 707C86C, okay? Probably I only need like the first 4 letters to even identify the hash, okay? So that's all I need right now. So so again, if I do Git Log One Line, okay, the most recent commit is this, and that's the crazy ones. And what we want to do is we want to revert that. So I'm going to type in Git Revert. I'm going to just type in 707C. Okay, this line. This is what we call the hash that identifies the most recent commit, and we're going to revert that. Okay, so I go ahead and hit enter there. And it brings up this thing that just kind of says, you know, are you sure this is what you want to do? And this is the message. And the message that's going to get recorded is revert, committing the crazy changes to the list. Okay, so yeah, that sounds good. I'm going to go ahead and close that. And now we're done, okay? And so if I check the log, okay, we can see in the log, it says we added Git Reset, we've committed the crazy changes, and then we revert committing the crazy changes, okay? And if I take a look at lists.txt, when I open this up, indeed, it no longer has the crazy changes, okay? And Git Commands looks like this, all right? There's a few other things, okay? You can also do something. So revert undoes kind of the most recent commit that we've done, okay? And there's also a way to just what we can call check out an older version, okay? So you might say like, oh, you know what? I wonder what Git Commands looked like, what my repository looked like back when I created first created the repository. Let's go back in time to this first thing, okay? Now, what you want to do is when you check, we're gonna do what's called a checkout. We're gonna check out the old version of the repository, okay? When you check out the old version of the repository, what you don't want to be doing is you don't want to be making a whole lot of changes there. It's mostly there for you to kind of look and browse. It's not meant for you to go back and start a new point in time and create like a second, an alternate history, right? So if you're thinking of like Back to the Future, what you don't want to do, I don't know if you guys watched the movie Back to the Future, but in like Back to the Future 2, they like went back in time and whatever, like Biff got the the playbook and he became like this super wealthy hotel magnate or something. Okay, maybe old movie reference. you don't want to go back in time and then start making changes and creating this alternate timeline, okay? The checkout is intended for you to kind of look, browse around and say, oh yeah, this is what I used to have, and then we got rid of it for whatever reason, but you can kind of like copy and save that somewhere else. So that's what you're gonna do, okay? So, okay, what happens if we revert the older commits? Okay, all right, so now you're asking me hard questions. I think revert was originally intended just to kind of undo the most recent commit, but I think we might be able to revert back to older ones. And I think what it will do is it'll just bring that older one back to the front. I have to kind of play around with it. I'm not 100% sure on my answer to this question about what happens if we revert the older commits. But let me just show you git checkout, okay? So I'm gonna type in git checkout, and I'm gonna use the hash, okay? So I'm gonna just type in A017, and I think that's enough to identify this thing, okay? All right, and it warns me, it says, you are in a detached head state. You can look around, make experimental changes and commit them and stuff, and you can discard any commits without impacting branches by switching back to a branch, okay? All right, but anyway, I would say this is what you should do. You can look around, okay? That's really what you should do, okay? So if I go to my working directory and I look at Git Commands, and I open this up, this is kind of the, like this is our first commit, and it restores your working directory on your computer. It looks like this, and you go, oh wow, what happened to everything? Okay, well, we went back in time. We went back in time, and we're looking at this. Okay, but we're in what we call a detached head state, and it's not the head is used to indicate where we are, and you can kind of also tell. So far, we've always been on master. If you look at all this, it's always said master. But now it says, you know, we're off in A017, okay? And head is now at A017. And what we want to do is after we check this out, okay, we can check it out, we can look around, and we can look at the files and folders, but eventually we probably want to go back to the main primary branch. And to get back, we just type in git checkout master, okay? And so now we are back in our master branch. Our previous head was at A0172, okay? But now we're back at master, and now that we're back at master, it has the commands file back to our most recent commit. It has restored the lists right here, which is how we like it right now, okay? And so I guess I'll add that to Git Commands, okay? So we've added a few things. Git Reset hard, okay? I'm gonna say undo or revert the most recent commit is gonna be done by doing Git Revert, and you need hash of most recent commit. Okay, and I'm gonna say look around at an older version of the repository, and that's going to be git checkout, and we're going to be hash of older commit, okay, and then return back to the kind of current state of the repository is going to be done by doing git checkout master. All right, so let me save that, and I'm going to git status this, and we will add these changes, and we're going to commit them, and we're going to talk about added lines for revert and checkout. Okay, and if I check the status, then we're good. And that's a very, very, very whirlwind brief tour of some of the basic functions of Git, okay? I'm gonna assign some homework on data camp where you're gonna do some Git exercises. And my other recommendation is, I've linked to this, but I would say you should read through these instructions, at least on getting started, with a Git repository here, okay? And so this is all working on your local Git, and okay, and I'm sorry, I'm going over time here. This is working on your local Git repository on your local thing. Oh, second quiz question answer. Thank you for that reminder. The second quiz question answer is C as in cat. C as in cat for the second quiz question. So thank you for that. C as in cat for the second quiz question. It's a lot of stuff. Basically, the two most important commands are going to be Git Add and Git Commit. Those are the two most important commands. Okay, will I be having office hours this week? Yes, I will have them on Saturday at 11 a.m. Okay, Saturday at 11 a.m. And that should be it. Okay, on Friday we will take a look at GitHub. We will take a look at setting up a remote repository and working on a remote repository there. Okay, so we'll take a look at that, and that will be kind of our introduction to Git and GitHub. And then next week we'll start getting into to Python. All right, and oh, so I finally posted a syllabus. Sorry, I know I'm way over time. But I posted a syllabus on CCLE. You can take a look there. It's still very tentative, and the grading section is hasn't been decided for the homework yet. It's still a little in flux, but at least a few more things have been detailed out. I've picked a Python textbook that I really like that is free. For everyone. Okay. Zoom link will be different for discussion sections. That's that'll be emailed out by the TA. Okay. But the Python textbook is free. The link for it is in the syllabus. So take a look. I think it's a really good one, and we'll start using that next week. Okay. Zoom link for discussion will be different because the host for that will be your TA. All right. Thanks, guys. Thanks for tuning in, and we will see you guys on Friday.